Silent John incremental, another silent instrumental, the nerd rap existential. People compare me to MC Christopher a lot, but the fact is I predicted with significance. I'm the oldest geek rapper by far, save K&R, compiling kernels, open bracket, cause I racket. MIT nerds throw your laser pen in the air and wave it all around like you had no repercussions. Now follow instructions, Professor. Why these discussions consist of nothing but incoherent rambling and babbling, but you should still take notes cause you never know what's happening. I'll drop a little nugget, a tidbit if you will. There were 4 United States presidents named Bill.
Really?
If you run out of hit points, the game will shout.
Your life force is running out.
If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life, yeah. Let me start again, put it on like a cardigan, swinging like my name was Mad Mardigan, which reminds me, Warwick Davis was Willow and a knee walk, Leonard Nimoy was Galvatron and Spock. That ain't typecast, I don't know what it. Talk about predestiny, nobody gets the best of me. I've only played one role my whole lifetime, the nerd lifeline, stream through a wicked pipeline. So no one can bite mine, cause mine is original and I write rhymes to burn on a CD, play in the mini V. Soccer moms yodel back, yodel at little me. I got a sidekick, I gotta stay connected. Watch out for my decom or you'll get infected. And you don't wanna be one of my bots, cause I see it all like Sauron the Cyclops. And I won't hesitate to drop your whole net block if you're acting up and you're dumber than a pet rock. I'm about this nerd life, as you can see, spreading like a virus on MP3. On MP3. STC. Shoutouts to Vic, Agnostic One, up in Silent John. Yeah. Nerd Life, Graphing Calculator, HP48G. The G is for gangster. Digital snip, yeah. You know how we do.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated, Tony TGT, and I am with the man who has stirred up the community. He's caused so much controversy. He just went into the house, turned over everybody's tables, and then left. The notorious MGG, Mike's Gaming Gala. What's up, Mike?
Hello, everybody. Sorry about the tables.
So we're going to be going over a couple of things. We're going to be talking with Mike, talking about retro games and television. I had some questions posted in the community tab, so we're going to go through those. We're going to go through the notorious interview and the fallout that ensued. But before we get to that, I got to ask, Mike, how was the lobster and champagne in the green room backstage? Was it to your liking?
Oh, it's lovely here. Thank you.
You know, I only put out the best for my guests, and you
I
are
appreciate
very
that.
So, there was one question that people kept asking, and I think we got to get to it. The elephant in the room. It's the question that was on everybody's mind during the interview. When I watched it on the replay, when I was going over it in the live stream I did, and when we were talking about, there was one question that kept popping up over and over and over and over again. People just needed to know this answer, and I couldn't answer it. I had no answer for them. And you, okay, Mike, are the only one who can answer this. Was William Mueller wearing sandals too?
I don't recall. Probably. It was pretty hot up here.
Because it looked like you guys were like dressed identically. People were like, "Why were you?" I know.
Yeah. So I told him wear an Intellivision shirt. So that shirt with the Intellivision controller on there, friends of mine, they've got a channel, My Drunk Sibling, and they do it's 2 siblings, and every week they play a different game and just compete against each other or whatever. It's all in good fun. But the sister, AJ, she makes shirts, and she makes shirts with different controllers on them. And I told him, well, yeah, wear an Intellivision shirt. And that's the only one he had that he hadn't had for like 10 years. And this was the only Intellivision shirt I had. So, yeah, I didn't think that one through. It looked like we were trying to be twinsies, but yeah, we were wearing the same shirt, and
Very similar shorts.
it is what it is. And yeah, I mean, once you get to a certain age, I guess there isn't that much variety in shorts for men.
I wear Dickie shorts myself, so.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're not on cam then.
I look like the typical 1990s California cholo.
Okay, fair enough.
It's just the way I've always been. So I always dress. I got my Chuck Taylors, my high tops, socks all the way up to my knees.
No shame in it.
No shame. Yeah, like the chat's saying, you have been handling this very well. I think you handled it as best you could, right? You didn't anticipate what was going to happen, obviously. You didn't.
I appreciate that.
And William, on the other hand, I will have to say this, and I know he's your friend, but from my perspective, from here, sitting on the outside looking in, he hasn't handled it so well. He's been very, very defensive. He's kind of snarky with his comments towards people who didn't even do anything, right? Like he's very upset with the YouTubers, and I get that. But like Atari Age, I seen his post, like he was like being very aggressive towards just people asking questions there. He
tends to have a knee-jerk reaction to things sometimes, and like even after the first video posted, I was like, just don't look at the comments, because he does take himself very seriously. He's honestly a very nice person, like, but he doesn't, like, nobody likes feeling like a fool, right? And so, he made that flub with the licensing agreement, and he was getting shit from up top and from other people, and probably felt like he had something to prove, which I don't think he does. He's got a very good reputation in the homebrew community. But yeah, it's unfortunate. He said some things that I would say were probably ill-advised, but it is what it is. Like, I've known him for 10 years. I know for a fact, like, if somebody had said that to him in person, he would argue with them till he was red in the face, but he wouldn't lay a finger on anybody. Like, it is what it is, and everybody takes things differently, and obviously, and I would say in most of the stuff, especially with the, I'm not going to say the name, but like the I almost said it, the Addams Family references and stuff, like, I can see how somebody would take offense and want to defend themselves and probably be a bit snarky, but I can say from my perspective, like, he's a very, very nice person. He just had a bad reaction.
Yeah. Well, I will say, hopefully, this does not cause you any issues, because you may or may not be aware, I was the one who made the uncle reference first. Which
is fair. I mean, it doesn't bother me. If it was me and somebody made that reference, just with the platform that I have and the things that I do on my channel, I just look into the camera and do the double snap, right? Like, it is what it is. Everybody's going to take things differently, and
But I will say, in my defense, if you watch the video, if you actually watch the live stream and subsequent videos that we've done afterward, whenever I've made that reference, it was always in a sort of like, I didn't know his name. Like, I missed you introducing him at the beginning of your interview, so I didn't know his name. So it was more like, this is a term of endearment, right? Like, Uncle Fester's a nice, lovable character that people, he's the one who got the game, right? There was no Gomez game for Nintendo. There was no Pugsley game, right? It was Uncle Fester. Yeah. And he was the character that people like. So I can get where he would be upset, but at the same time, like, it wasn't meant as an insult.
No, I get it. And I mean, he's in the same category as Christopher Lloyd now. That's never bad.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on YouTube long enough. The whole frog thing that you see here, this started because people were insulting me and they were calling me Kermit. and it is involved into the fraud.
Okay, there you go.
Right. So, if he's watching, if he hears this later on, don't take any offense to it. It was never meant to be offensive. And the more I would say is for the internet, the more you try to fight these things, the more you're going to get it, right? Like people are like, oh, that annoys him now, so now I'm going to use it because that's how the internet works these days.
That's my experience.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you have a lot of experience interviewing people? Because I didn't see a lot of interviews on your channel, but I don't want to make any assumptions.
No, I don't. I've worked in media for 20 years, and a good portion of that was in news. So I've, seen a lot. I've been around a lot. I've been in newsrooms and stuff. But no, as for me conducting an interview, I mean, even being on camera, I started this channel my channel in January. I still hate seeing myself on camera. It's just something, it's a learned skill. And obviously that interview, maybe not the best. I set up the 3-camera shoot, which that got made fun of a bit. I put music under it. I shouldn't have done that, but it is what it is.
I was just asking because there were certain things like in the interview and even afterward, right? Like when I watched, I was like, oh, he didn't follow up on this. He didn't, because that was a huge moment, right? Like if I was talking to William and he had said, hey, BBG owns all of this, right? I'd be like, hold up, stop. We're going to pause this because this is a huge bombshell. Like we can't just
are you sure
over this. Yeah. Like we really need to nail this down because this is going to cause, more concern for the community than the 2 new consoles, right? The fact that now they've sold everything. So
in hindsight, I should have been like me conducting the interview was more just, let's hear him say what he's got to say. To call it it was an interview, but to call it an interview is maybe giving it too much credit. It was more like, here's a friendly talk with William. And in hindsight, yeah, absolutely. There's a couple things in there that I maybe should have followed up on and made sure were clarified. And like he did mention, it would have been good if he had been able to watch the interview before I had actually posted it, because then he probably would have caught that. But you can just chalk that up to inexperience.
Yeah. So I will say, just to give you a little tip or whatever, if you're going to conduct an interview where you think that maybe there might be some touchy subjects, obviously the Amico stuff was very touchy, and you're like, oh, the elephant in the room type thing. Maybe before you start rolling, you start going, be like, hey, make sure everything's set, and maybe ask a few preliminary questions, like, hey, just
pre-questions, yeah. Yep. There won't be a next time, but if there's a next time with anybody, that's definitely going to be the case.
Yeah. And sometimes even it's good to write out the questions. Like, say you're going to interview them in a week, you just write out, say, here's some of the things that we're going to discuss. You don't have to send me back answers, but just so you can think about what
but so that they're prepared and they've got what they want to say kind of set. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but it is what it is, like you said. So let's get into this. So William Mueller, he says the things he says. How far in advance were you aware of what he was going to say, right? Because he said that he did mention to a few people he was working on this project with BBG. So
yeah, so he had been mentioning, like, he never told me any specifics prior to I guess the Friday when we talked, and he said he was allowed to talk about it. But he did mention, and he had for a long time, like before it was announced that BBG had Shark and Astro Smash, he kind of shared that with me, and just in confidence. And so he, as he was working, he's like, oh yeah, we're working towards something. It'd be really cool. Maybe something that plays original Intellivision cartridges. And, I'm all for that. Especially being a homebrew guy. And but as for what the details was, when we talked on the Friday, that's when he told me, it's like, yeah, it's going to be this, and we're talking to this person, and it's going to be like a 2-step thing. We're going to make a flashback style and an FPGA, and it's going to have these. And I'm like, that's really cool. Come onto my channel and talk.
So I don't think he mentioned it in the interview, but I did see that he made a comment on Atari Age saying that he was working on these projects for over a year.
He didn't tell me that. If he posted it on, it's probably along the lines of something that may have been in the works. He's been friendly with BBG for a long time, since before whatchamacallit, like even the Amico stuff started, simply because they bought Boulder Dash and all that, and he had previously licensed that. So he had a relationship with them prior. So it wouldn't surprise me if they had been working on things and maybe even had that kind of thing in mind when they were looking to license stuff.
Yeah. It just seemed odd because, like I said, Intellivision was working on their own things. So a year ago, it wouldn't have seemed likely for BBG, who didn't have the license to anything yet. They were making games for the Amico, but they had not yet purchased licenses or purchased IPs, right? For them to be like, yeah, we're gonna start working on an Intellivision flashback and a thing, right? I could see maybe William had this idea and then it evolved. And then,
it's entirely possible. Entirely possible.
My speculation is that he was thinking of something, maybe looking around, and then when he heard that BBG got the license, he's like, well, I have this idea, and he presented it to BBG, and they were like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And, then it proceeded forward from there. But it wasn't like BBG and William were working on this over a year.
Yeah, I sincerely doubt that they were actually like actively working on something like this for that long. But yeah, I think your speculation there is probably closer to reality. But and I know that they were talking with some other people to hopefully make this, at least the FPGA thing, happen. And so maybe it involves kind of getting these people in touch, and then who knows, maybe that was part of why BBG got the licenses. I really don't know. I can only speculate. That was never divulged to me.
The other thing that and again, it was only speculation on my part, but when I heard that William did this interview and he said the things he said, and that BBG had the license for 60 games for Intellivision, as John Alvarado cleared up, right? I surmise that if BBG has the license to put these games on a new platform or a platform other than the Amico, right? Because I'm not privy to the wording that's in the contract, but I would imagine it would be something like, you have the license to put these on things that are not Amico, right?
Something like that.
Technically, a new FPGA console or a new flashback type console would be something other than the Amico, right?
Yep. I think in terms of the flashback, if it was to even have any hope of success, you would need to be able to call it the Intellivision flashback, whatever. Like, you'd need that Intellivision name. And from the clarifications, it sounds like they don't have rights to that name. So whether or not their license would allow them to make it, if they can't call it Intellivision, there's really no point in making it. For that one. The FPGA, you can call it whatever the hell you want. But
isn't the Collector Vision basically ColecoVision?
Yes. Yep.
So couldn't they come up
but they called their console the Phoenix, right? So if you... But they also made an FPGA. It wasn't a flashback. If you're making a flashback console, you need to capitalize on the nostalgia. Like, it wouldn't make sense for there to be an Atari flashback and you call it the,
Mike's flashback.
yeah, Mike's Flashback or whatever, because nobody's going to know what that is. You have to market it as Atari. So it would be the same with, and I'm just talking about the Flashback console. If they were going, if anybody made an Intellivision Flashback, it would be absolute suicide to not call it anything other than Intellivision.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, because that would be, it is an Intellivision Flashback, and to not have the
Because you need to capitalize. You're putting, say 50, 60 games from the original Intellivision library. You have to call it Intellivision. Otherwise, you're not capitalizing on that nostalgia.
Yeah. So, as far as I know, an FPGA system is, it's not illegal. They can do it. Anyone can make one. It's just a matter of doing, not so much a matter of getting permission to do so. But William has said in a couple of places that the projects are dead. I think he blamed us at one point, said, hey, you guys killed these projects. Is this still the case?
I'm not privy to that. I can't imagine that anybody that BBG was working with would look at the drama and not be a little wary. But yeah, I'm not privy as to whether or not they're continuing to go forward with anything or not. I have a feeling like, and this is probably getting ahead, but that email that was sent to you that specifically, like it was very corporate and covering their ass. I think that's actually probably wise of BBG, because even if they are moving forward with stuff, you don't want to anger the person who's sold you the license. So, I hope something's going forward, whether it be BBG or somebody else. Like, for me, like, I don't care so much about the Flashback. I'm missing 12 of the original Intellivision games in my collection. I have them. I don't need a little box that plays them. What I want this kind of FPGA thing for would be, again, for like modern homebrews, stuff that would never be packed on any kind of Flashback.
Yeah. And being able to just hook it up through a HDMI cable.
Yeah, so like if you want to plug an original Intellivision into a modern TV, most modern TVs will still accept that RF cable, but it looks like crap. And for me to get it into my capture card, and I've got a pretty cheap capture card, it's just HDMI in, but I have to get that RF to HDMI. And you can mod original consoles, but the best you can mod them to, at least the Intellivision, as far as I'm aware, is composite video. So that's like the yellow, red, and white. So you still have to upscale that, and it's better than RF, but it's still nowhere near, the crisp, clean pixels of HD. Yeah. And it's, you got to drill holes in the side of your original hardware, which is a collector I don't like to do. You have to modify the board, and it's still 40-year-old hardware. So to have something that I could just, like the Retron 77, the Retron 77 is pretty imperfect. It's just basically Stella on a box, but I can plug a cart into it, and a lot of games will work, and it just has an HDMI out. I plug it right into my system, and I'm good to go.
Jan Ong is going crazy in the chat. He wants to know something that I'm sure you have no answer for, but I'm going to ask it so he shuts up.
Okay.
He says, why is William an unpaid consultant? Why unpaid?
Have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't ask. You're asking, he's not William's boyfriend, all right? He doesn't know these kind of answers. He doesn't have he's not William's accountant, okay? He doesn't know this. I would surmise, if I had to have a guess, William has a company, Electronite. BBG is a company. William is offering advice and consultation because it benefits both parties, right?
Yeah.
William obviously, because his company makes aftermarket games and homebrews and physical carts and all, the stuff that he does, it intersects with the stuff that BBG does. So it is just a mutually beneficial arrangement, right?
Well, you look too at, he can no longer sell because he made a licensed version of Boulder Dash, which is actually excellent on the Intellivision. Playing friendly with BBG, who now owns that license. Maybe he can. Hey, I've been an unpaid consultant. Maybe you let me sell my Intellivision version of Boulder Dash. Who knows? But business relationship is probably your best answer to that. It just makes sense to be friendly with a company like BBG that owns all these licenses.
And I'm sure, like, you're thinking unpaid consultant. Like, I'm sure William is not down there with BBG like 10 hours a day slaving away. I'm sure it's more like a friendly email exchanges.
I am 100%. Well, not 100. I can never be 100%. I'm 99% certain he's never stepped in that office.
So yeah. I'm saying it's probably to the extent of email exchanges, phone calls, discussions here and there, in and around the things that, like I said, are mutually beneficial to the both parties.
Mm-hmm.
But there you go. That's the best I can come with, and that's the best Mike can come up with. I would be open to having William on here. I'm sure he doesn't want to come on here.
He's been pretty clear he doesn't want to do any more interviews, which I don't blame him.
So have you spoken to William? You still on good terms with him since the interview?
Yeah. He's not thrilled that I put the videos back up. He wants to move on from it all. For me, I view it as kind of closure. That's why I called that video epilogue. It's just, if something else legitimate pops up, maybe I'll talk about it. But I have, like I mentioned to you in the thing, I have no interest in becoming an Amico guy or, the BBG guy. But I acknowledge my involvement in it. And, after this live stream, it's probably the last I'm going to really be talking about it unless something physical literally gets announced. So
I never wanted to be the Amico guy, believe it or not, but stuff happens.
Sometimes you just got to accept what's dealt to you.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen, but William did put up a comment on that video, the one you just did.
Oh, did he?
Then I think he deleted it.
Okay.
So I want to. Luckily, like I for whatever my brain went, hey, see if anyone left any comments on Mike's video, and he did. So I left that tab open, and then a little while later, I checked on the second tab, and it was gone. So I'm assuming he went back and deleted it for some reason, but since we have it, I think we should go over it because there was nothing wrong with it. I don't know why he would, except for calling me a nut bar. But I mean, I've been called worse. So you guys might not be able to see it, so I'll read it for you. This is from Carbonated Lithium, aka William Mahler. It says, for the record, I'll say the following. 1. My Intellivision 3 project was not an announcement, quote, despite what some Amico nut bars insist. Okay. This is like a sticking point that William has had ever since the thing, right? Literally, like, this is the first time that the project has ever been talked about publicly. It wasn't a public announcement of a release date. It wasn't a public announcement of, you can order it now. But it was an announcement that this project exists and was being worked on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other, like, it's literally the definition of announcement, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I mentioned it in my video. It's, I certainly marketed it as an announcement. It wasn't so much a product as an announcement as a project announcement, and maybe that's a sticking point.
Yeah, but, I would agree with that.
It certainly wasn't an official announcement from BBG. That would not come on a channel like mine. But yeah,
you say that, and I want to say something real quick since you kind of brought that up. Look, there's been some people, and I'm not going to name any names, Smash JT, but there's been some people who were like really incredulous that it would be announced on your channel, and your channel is so small, and blah blah blah. If you look at what Mike does on his channel, it's a lot of homebrew stuff.
Mhm.
You would be the exact market. Your channel and the people who watch your channel would be the exact market for this product. It is not a
for sure.
product that would have PewDiePie talked about this. Like 99.999% of his audience would laugh because they would have no interest in this, right? But your audience would. So it would actually make sense to announce it on your platform, right? So the idea that like you're a small,
yeah, I it's not necessarily the size of my channel or anything like that. I would just, especially with the history of everything that happened with Amico, I would hope that any official announcement would actually come from like the BBG press section of their website. And then, once that's there, then sure, go on whatever YouTube channel you want and talk about it. But the press release needs to be a proper press release, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I had assumed that there would be a press release forthcoming. I was actually checking my email for one. Because I mean, your video was like late at night, so I was like, maybe they announced it. There'll be like a press release tomorrow, right? Because again, it would be low key. Not a lot of people would have noticed it, and then, but yeah, the whole thing happened, the whole kerfuffle. But I mean, you being a small channel, again, there's a lot of people who were kind of singling that out like a sticking point. Like it's not really a big deal. The size of your channel doesn't mean anything. It's like
and
it's more
I
about
accept I'm a very small channel. I totally understand that. That's fine. I've only been on YouTube for 7.5 months, so I'm happy with where my channel's at. I'm good.
Yeah, I've seen you have pretty good growth. I'm a tiny channel. I mean,
yeah, I think most channels are what you would consider small. Even like 20,000 subscribers is, on the smaller end.
Site says it's not about the size; it's about how you use it.
There
Which
you
is
go.
it's a pretty adult joke to be making, Scythe, considering you're still in high school. Come on. Tell your mom. But yeah, like I said, the YouTube size meter, if you will, has shifted so much over the years, right? There was a point when like 1 million was like, oh my god. So now it's like 1 million is like a nobody, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So size of the channel, man. I've had big people. I've had people with like 5 million subs show up in my chat sometimes. It's not a thing. It's whatever. So
yeah,
anyone giving you shit over the size of your channel for doing anything?
Oh, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. But moving on. Also, I don't know. You probably haven't watched a lot of my content, but I have this habit of talking way too much, and I can take a 2-minute video and turn it into like a 4-hour live stream. So
that's good for view hours.
Yeah. If at any point that I'm just rambling on too much, you can tell me to shut up. Be like, tell me to shut up.
Well, I have until about midnight Eastern, so
We'll get you there. Don't worry.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying, like, if you feel like you're rambling to a point that you're not going to be able to get everything that you want from me, just look at the clock for that. I think that's 11 o'clock your time.
Says, have you never been to high school? The things people say, oh yeah, we've said terrible things. I'm just saying. I'm just giving you shit, Scythe. Come on. No, Scythe's a good guy. He of all the people that have ever been on this channel to have any kind of discussion, I will say that Scythe is the youngest one who've ever been on the channel, and he's been the most respectful. He comes in like so nice and respectful and so polite. Throws off my game totally, but he's the most polite. His parents should be very proud of him because he is super polite.
Good.
All right, number 2. The purpose of the video was to find people who were interested in helping bring the project to reality, not to get involved in some Amico drama with emotionally unstable people.
That's kind of defining everybody on the internet.
Yeah.
Everybody on the internet is emotionally unstable.
Well, And what I find funny, right? Yeah, because in your interview, I think William was like, I was one of the first people on the internet, right? Like, you would think someone who's been on the internet as long as William says he has would understand how the internet works, right? Like, did he take a long hiatus between when he started and now? Because
Well, it changed at the advent of social media. I don't know.
I mean, it is crazy. Also, I will say, a lot of people don't understand this, and I have to explain this almost monthly. But what I do, and not what a lot of people do, because some people are just boring. But what I do is I try to be entertaining. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes, I will get a little more excitable or be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Rambunctious, if you will,
Yep.
in my speech and the way I act. So please don't take this to be like, oh my God, Tony's crazy. Like he's on. No, I'm trying to play it up for laughs, play it up for the crowd to get people excited, right? And we
Well,
were,
especially when you're making content, you've got
yeah.
to amp things up that normal people would just be like, okay, but you've got to be like, this is the most amazing thing, or this is crazy, or
And I will say, if you watch my live stream, if you go back, watch the live stream, read the chat, people were excited. People were, even though with the Amico stuff, like, haha, Amico's dead, right? But people were like, oh yeah, this Intellivision 3 actually sounds good, right? Like I have a
I agree
ColecoVision.
personally. I know the market isn't as big as what Atari announced yesterday with their 2600 plus, but
I heard that's a
for people,
fiasco.
well, it's an upgrade to the Retron 77. I'm not particularly excited, but I'm a sucker for vintage crap, so I'll buy it anyway. But still,
Yeah. Like I said, for me, I have a ColecoVision, right? That's what I grew up with.
yeah.
And my ColecoVision actually stopped working. And like the one controller port doesn't work.
Okay.
So like I have all the games, right? Like in my dad's garage is a whole box with all the games.
Mm-hmm.
Even ET, believe it or not. So like this would be
ET
like, hey,
came out for the ColecoVision?
no, it came out for Atari.
Oh, okay, because you were talking about your ColecoVision.
Right, because I have the adapter.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right. So, that's what I grew up playing. And I have all the carts, but I can't play them, right? And it would be, like I said, it'd be a pain in the ass to get the system out, even if I fixed it and then try to hook it up. But if you were like, hey, this is in Intellivision 3, you just pop it in HDMI, and I could just take the cards from the garage and pop them in, that'd be fantastic, right?
Oh,
I
yeah,
probably
that'd be great.
wouldn't use it every day, but I'd probably, play around with it every once in a while because it'd be there.
Mm-hmm.
It'd get more use than the Switch. I have this Switch that I never use.
Oh, so the Switch gets a lot of use. Like I got 3 kids, so the Switch probably gets the most use in my house, and then I would say 90% of the rest of my gaming is for the channel. So we play a lot of Switch here.
I don't. I never play. Like I have it. I have so many games for it. I have Breath of the Wild. Was that Animal Crossing? The Super Mario stuff. I have all the stuff, and I just never. I love my PlayStation 5 so much that my Switch never gets any love. I have a Steam Deck. I never use that either.
Well, I find I go through phases. Like when we got our PS5, I played a good amount of that, and now my PS5 mostly just sits. So,
Site says, "Who's the most controversial YouTuber of all time?" That's ever been on the channel, or just of all time? Because of all time, I'd say probably Keemstar. As long as we're not delving into any of the like people who've been, doing the weird stuff like the Pro Jared type people, right? Or the how's his name? The EDP type people, right? Like if we're staying away from those type of people and just like regular normal controversies, then I'd probably say Keemstar.
I would have no opinion on that. The people I watch on YouTube tend to not be the controversial ones. So, like I don't know if you're familiar with the Sunny V2 channel where he talks about like big drama.
Yeah,
like,
I subscribe to it.
Yeah, so I've watched a few of those, so I'm aware of some, but none of them were channels that I ever followed. So,
Sai says, to me, it's like Logan Paul or Super Mario Logan. I wouldn't say Logan Paul. He's kind of transcended with the WWE stuff now, right? So,
Yeah, the only thing I remember him from was that didn't he go to like some Japanese forest and
yeah.
like there's a guy hanging? Yeah, I remember that controversy.
But then it was like maybe it was fake and maybe it wasn't. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, we're not emotionally unstable. I think we're just like to have fun. 3, the project was more real than your Amico console refund. Remember that when calling me a liar. Man, it's getting petty out here now. That's some petty shit. I got my refund already, so it's not more real than my refund because I got mine.
It's more real than mine. I left it there. I was like, you know what? I'll go down with the ship. I'll leave my refund. I'll leave my deposit in there.
I was like, no. I saw it coming. I was like, I saw the refunds getting pulled. I was like, nope, give me that back. And I think I actually had to reach out to Phil Adam directly. And I was like, Phil, where's my refund? He said, oh, hold on. He's like, I will transfer your email to the proper, because he always makes it sound like, oh, you just send it to the wrong person. He's like, I'll transfer you to the proper person. And they gave me, I think it was just because of who I am. And they're like, oh, Tony will cause a whole nother kerfuffle if he doesn't get his money. So they just give him his $100 back. 4, you'll hear nothing further in public about this project. I know some people just love to cause chaos and watch everything burn, but I'm not interested in giving losers running failed YouTube channels more fodder. Spelled fodder wrong, by the way, William. Come on, if you're going to insult us, spell correctly. It's one of my pet peeves. But that's not so. For their wild and mostly inaccurate speculations. Remember, these people calling me a liar have no idea what's actually happening. This I find very funny, where it's like mostly inaccurate speculation. Well, tell us what parts were right. And we've all speculated and we've said some things. Like, tell us who got what right, where. Give me some specifics.
Yeah, I think some of that might be involved with the NDAs he signed. I don't know.
Well, then at least point out the wrong stuff. Be like, this is wrong, and then I can go, well, he didn't mention these other things, so these things must be right?
Yeah.
Also, some of the people talking about this, like Sweet and Tender, your Tommy Mikos, they have small channels, but they're not really YouTubers, right? I wouldn't even call them YouTubers so much as like they're just people that put content up because like
social media platform. Yeah.
Because they're not really looking to like grow their brand or grow a channel or monetize or become anybody. They're just like, yeah, I like this silly thing and I want to talk about it. And let me throw up a live stream or let me do a video or some goofy edit. Yeah. So, YouTube poopers is what Tommy calls himself. Yeah, Sweet says this is a hobby, a joke channel. Yeah, see? So, but yeah, I am not a failed. I don't know what the metric is of failed or unfailed YouTubers.
Well, you're not failed until you stop doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I still get paid from YouTube. I still get invited to be on people's channels and do stuff, and I talk to bigger YouTubers and hell around with people, and I have fun. So it's not failed, right? Like when this stops being fun, I would then consider myself a failed YouTuber. Like when I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do this.
That's fair.
Yeah. But right now, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it too. I don't get any checks from YouTube. I'm too small for that, so I do it because I like doing it.
It'd be nicer if I got more money, but I mean, I'll settle for what I get. You don't actually. Oh yeah,
nobody's going to complain.
Here's the thing: a lot of people don't know, Mike. In order to get money from YouTube, you have to hit their monetization goals, right?
Yeah.
But there's other means of getting money.
Sponsorships and whatnot.
No, I wasn't even talking sponsorship. Like before YouTube monetized me, I had a tip jar through streaming.
Oh, okay.
So it was essentially the same concept as a super chat, except for it wasn't going through YouTube; it was going through another company.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Anyway, I'm not failed, and I know how to spell fodder correctly, so I got that going for me. 5, I would have caught my mistake if I had required the approval of the video before it launched. I don't think that continuing to have a video with wrong information in online, causing mentally unstable people to lose their shit, is helpful. That is why I stand by my request to remove the video, and I'm disappointed that it will go back up, leaving more opportunity for stupid people to talk out their ass.
So my opinion on that is like it's already up elsewhere. People have already talked and picked apart and analyzed it on many other channels. All me pulling it down does is hide the source, but it doesn't hide the content. And why would I want to, or why would even William or BBG want to hide the source when it's already out there? Like it just makes us all look bad. And it's, like it or not, it's a part of this whole saga. And, I changed the title cards and I changed the titles. So it's not, it's no longer an announcement video. It's this is for, years from now, when they make the Amico documentary, there's going to be a 1-minute segment that's going to use something from this. That's all I view it as. Yeah, for posterity. That's why I called it that.
I will say that, in my opinion, that is the correct move. Don't ever hide anything. Whenever you do that, like the first thing people are going to be like, well, there must be something to hide, right?
Yeah,
there's got to be something there. What's he hiding? Why is he doing that? Then they'll be like, oh, did BBG tell him? Is this the theories and the speculation will start running wild. They'll be like, oh my God, he must have gotten legal threats from Intellivision, and John Alvarado's busting down his door, threatening to, kidnap his dog if he doesn't hide these videos. Right? People will go crazy with this shit. So I'm saying, it's just put it out there and be like, hey, pin a comment or whatever. Be like, yeah, this is no longer factual, or this is no longer accurate, right? But it's here because it's a thing that happened. You made correction videos.
Yep. And I pinned comments and I made the little annotation. At the time, his big concern is that it was hurting the project, and I wasn't going to die on that hill. So, but they're back up now. They're labeled as such that the only people that are going to go to them are the ones that are specifically looking for that. So.
Yeah. And I think with the title change, most people are not going to find them looking for Intellivision anymore, because it's out of the algorithm. And like I said, everyone's talked about it. The people that we're going to talk about it have talked about it. And
I've talked about it, exactly.
That we're going to, the corrections have been made, and those have been discussed. So it's no longer like someone's going to stumble on this and be like, oh my God, how's nobody talking? Like, they'll figure it out, right? I will say, you did say something in your video about not being able to edit the middle of a video. That
may be my YouTube noobness.
Yeah. If you go into the, I'm not suggesting you do this because the videos are up.
Oh, I'm not going to.
But for future reference, you could go into the YouTube studio and trim the video.
But can I trim like a part in the middle?
Yeah. You could set the two timestamps. You could set when to start the trim and when to end the trim. You could actually trim it several times, so you can have like 6 or 7 trims in there.
Okay.
I'm
not going to do that, but noted.
All right. And the last thing. Also, why is it got to be so harsh about all this, man? It's like.
Well, I think it's.
But here's the thing, like,
it's his fight or flight response. Like whether he is attacked or not, he feels attacked. So that's probably why these responses are the way they are.
Yeah, but it is a bear situation, right? You're looking at a bear and you have a stick in your hand, and it's not going to kill the bear, but you're like hitting the bear with the stick is only going to piss it off more, right? At this point, you're like, okay, the bear stopped attacking. I can walk away, and maybe I won't get mauled to death. But you're like, no, let me smack it a few times with the stick, just to make sure he's upset when I turn my back to it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Number 6, I am still working with BBG Entertainment despite the lunacy. So yeah, so there it is. The comment, and like I said, I happened to see it, and I didn't close the page, and thank God I didn't, because it's not there. Because if I will, like I said, if I you know reset it, go to newest, gone. So the only place to have it is right here. Right here in this
There you go.
exclusive. As Tommy used to always throw around, you get an exclusive. We got tons of questions here for you.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to the community tab here. All right. So I said here, tonight I will be joined by Mike's Gaming Gala to discuss retro games and television and some interview about Intellivision 3. If you have a question for Mike, please drop it below. And the answer. Luke's Awakening says, Mike, can I have your autograph?
Luke can always have my autograph. I like Luke. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's good. I seen a video from Luke or premiere or live stream or something that's upcoming where he says, like, this is the final Awakening channel update, and I'm very nervous that Luke's going to stop streaming and stop YouTubing.
Oh, I sincerely doubt that.
I hope not. Because I know he was really upset. He had gotten his channel flagged.
Oh,
week.
did he?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he was going to do this thing where he watched old movies, like a Mystery Science Theater type thing. And
So it'd be like a copyright strike?
Yeah, so he did it, and he live streamed, and then the stream got shut down like a half hour in. And I guess he got the notification and everything, and he was like, well, if I can't do this, like, this is like, the movie he was watching was literally a public domain movie. It was like some old, like, Attack of the Giant Leech or something, like some really old black and white shitty sci-fi horror movie from like the 40s. But he got shut down, and he was really upset. So I'm hoping this isn't like a I'm taking a step back type thing.
Yeah, I hope not. He's up for YouTuber of the Month this month too. He's I don't know if you're familiar with that competition, but
there have been several channels I've seen who've done that, so I don't know which one in particular.
Yeah, it's on the Real Bit Wars. It's the one that's been going on since, like, I think 2015 or something like that.
I've never once, despite anything I've ever done on YouTube, never once has any channel ever been like, you know what, YouTuber of the year.
Well, so there is
the month,
whoever
or
wins,
even the week.
Yeah, well, whoever wins YouTuber of the year then hosts the competition for the next year. That's how this one goes. I didn't even know about it until I was nominated in June. So, but yeah, like I think he's got a great channel. I like Luke a lot. I hope he doesn't go away.
So F1JB in the chat here says, what does William think about Atari's VCS 2600? And again, Mike is not William, so I don't think Mike has an answer for this. But what do you think?
I have no idea. I have not talked to him about it.
What do you think about the Atari's 2600 plus thing?
Well, like I said, I mean, I'm going to buy one, but I'm like, again, I'm standing on this hill. I want an FPGA. I want an FPGA for basically every console. I've got all the ones from Analog. I missed out on the Phoenix, so I do not have the ColecoVision Phoenix, Collector Vision Phoenix. But I've got all the Analog ones. I've got that Turbo Duo coming. I love FPGA systems. I like my Retron 77, don't get me wrong, but about 50% of my homebrews don't work on it. Oof. So I'm expecting similar results from this guy, but hey, I could be pleasantly surprised. Never know.
All right. We're going to skip Elbow's question. I said, bad elbow. Don't ask questions like that. That's not an appropriate thing to ask. All right, but you, Super J, here says, so many. Number one, did Uncle Fester of BBG reach out to Mike? How did the initial call go down? So I'm assuming
we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's a friend of mine, so we talk decently regularly. And he called and he said, "Oh, I'm allowed to talk about this now," and just told me all about the projects, and we set up an interview.
After the interview was over, was it one of these? Because I speculated, at least I know for me, whenever I have someone on, it's usually like the thing ends and then like we'll talk for 5-10 minutes, sometimes an hour. I've had people like where a live stream has ended. It was like, oh, we've just streamed for like 8 hours. We ended, and then I end up talking to the person for like another 3 hours behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think he stuck around for about half an hour. We talked a little bit about, not necessarily this, a little bit about this, but other things, and yeah. So yeah, we chatted a little bit, but then I had to, get stuff ready. My wife and my daughter came home and had to get her ready for bed and all that stuff. So
and do the
yeah, we talked for a little bit, but it wasn't like a big follow up. Okay, did we cover everything? Did we? It was just, okay, I'm gonna go edit the video.
I would have been like, oh my God, that's so insane. Because that's my thing. Like after it ended, I would be like, oh my God, like really? Like they bought all the games and like this is
well,
just
and
wild.
this is on me, and this is maybe my ignorance about the Amico stuff. I thought that was already announced when the Shark and Astra Smash stuff had come out. I wasn't aware that was new information.
Yeah, that was.
So that's on me. If I had known that, I would have made a bigger deal about that in the interview.
Well, even the calling it the Intellivision 3, right? Even that part of it was
well, and so that's okay. That's something that I can clarify. It was never the Intellivision 3. What he was talking about when he was talking about Intellivision 3 was Intellivision had proposed, I think in 1983, basically like an upgrade to the existing Intellivision that would be called the Intellivision 3, because the Intellivision 2 is that like little tan one with the crappy controllers. I mean, depending on your perspective, they're all crappy controllers, but I don't mind them. But the Intellivision 2 controllers are terrible. But that was a proposed upgrade to basically bridge the gap until they made like a whole new Intellivision, like the equivalent of like a 5200 or a 7800, like the next generation. And so he was talking about that, and people agree as to what this would be called, and that was never the case. He was talking about adding that proposed functionality to the FPGA.
But I mean, I don't know if you've listened to the interview since, but if you go back and listen to it, it really does sound like he's like, the FPGA one is going to be called the Intellivision 3.
Well, and he mentioned he was 3D printing Intellivision 3 cases and stuff to have a look. Yeah.
Because even that was like, wow. So then I guess they licensed the Intellivision name, right? Like,
yeah. I haven't really gone back and like I didn't go back and watch the interview just before jumping on this call, but I could see how well, and also you latch on to any name, right?
Yeah.
So they mentioned that, and there was no name given for the system, so people are going to jump onto that.
It was a wild ride. I was on board. I was having T-shirts printed out, Intellivision 3, Amico. We had people coming back like, oh man, I'm ready to shill for the Intellivision 3. Screw Tommy and the Amico. Intellivision 3 is where it's at. But you obviously are a huge fan of Intellivision, retro gaming, and stuff.
Yep.
I'm not, which is so weird because I am stuck in this weird retro community, and I never play retro games. I kind of think they're shitty. I was never a fan of Intellivision. Never, I played Atari 2600, the adapter for the ColecoVision, and I did like it growing up. But as soon as I moved past it, I never looked back. So can't go home again.
Interesting enough for me, like I was an Atari kid. I had a 2600 until like Christmas of '89. We finally got an NES, and I had never even seen an Intellivision until I was in my 20s. Wow. And I like the oddball stuff. I like stuff that isn't, if something like I love the Virtual Boy. I love the Jaguar. Like systems that weren't necessarily particularly popular, but I remembered seeing in magazines.
Have you talked to Cyrus Martin by any chance?
I have not.
You should, because he also likes oddball systems and the Atari Jaguar.
Yeah. But what really got me heavy into Intellivision was actually the homebrew games. Like I've got most of the original library, and in all honesty, there's probably, there's 125 games, and of them, there's maybe 50 that I care to play. But the homebrew games, like there's some absolutely fantastic games, and what they're doing with that system is incredible. And that's what really got me into Intellivision. It's the newer games for that system.
So, were you familiar with the Intellivision community? Were you involved in the fan community?
I have been for about 10 years. And that's actually when I first met William. He was looking for game testers for Boulder Dash, of all games. And so I reached out to him and I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And he, and we built a friendship from that.
Have you watched DJ Slopes' Boulder Dash history video?
The Boulder Dash history? No. The only thing that I directly remember now watching, and somebody had recommended it to me after my interview, is I watched that 4-hour masterpiece on the history of the Amico.
Slopes is a good guy.
He seems it. Yep.
Yeah, that video is so good, so good. He's doing a follow up where he's proposing a follow up.
Oh, I'll bet I'll be at least 3 minutes in that video.
Yeah. I'll make sure that you get a little nod.
There you go.
Did you meet Keith before he passed, or
did I meet who? Sorry,
Keith Robinson, the Intellivision guy.
I never met Keith Robinson. No.
I was just wondering because there's been speculation and talk and chatter about what it was that he wanted for Intellivision going forward. Various people have said various things, and one of them was Tommy basically saying that he wanted a new system to come out.
I've heard absolutely nothing to that effect from people that I know who knew him. That doesn't mean it's not true, but based on how he was kind of running the company, he was, at least from my perspective, just capitalizing on the nostalgia. Okay, yeah, we can make some new versions of these games. Like, didn't they have a Kickstarter at one point where they wanted to make like a collection of remastered games for computer?
Yeah, they actually were released on the PlayStation for the PlayStation Home.
Okay.
And ironically, it was Astro Smash, Shark, and Night Stalker was the third one. Night Stalker never got finished.
Okay. Which is a shame. I think it's the best of those 3 games. I love Night Stalker.
And the funny thing is, a lot of people don't know this, right? So that Kickstarter with Keith in the Intellivision Generation 2 was actually partnered with Mike Kennedy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So Coleco Camille and Mike Kennedy went in with Keith Robinson and them to do this Kickstarter that failed. Also, Phil Adam, current CEO of Intellivision, was on the board of directors for the company being run by Mike at the time.
Yeah.
And Mike Kennedy. So Mike Kennedy's company had Phil Adam on their board of directors doing the Intellivision Gen 2. And Tommy Tallarico donated to the Kickstarter. So it's all connected.
Well, I remember when all that stuff was kind of announced and going through, and then didn't he have like an SNES Mini inside a Jaguar shell at a convention?
Yeah.
Like taped together? That's brutal.
And that was the infamous. That wasn't his fault. That was Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee did that. Mike was unaware. Also, Phil Adam, despite being on the board of directors for that company, he was unaware too. He didn't know anything.
Well, yeah, I don't believe in making people guilty by association. Like all of a sudden, anybody who knew anybody, especially
well, he worked
in the
for the company.
Well, yeah, no. But I'm talking more along the lines of like if somebody, like if you're on the board of directors and Mike Kennedy is telling you, "Oh yeah, we got this thing, like you're not necessarily guilty of the fact that there's an SNES Mini inside a Jaguar shell. Like you're not going and looking at the circuit boards, and I don't know. I try to give people a benefit of the doubt.
That's a fair point. But let me give some context, right?
Yeah.
That a lot of people, again, because I'm way too invested in everything and I do way too much research.
Mm-hmm.
So in doing all the research, Mike Kennedy was neighbors with Phil Adam. Okay. Which I know people are like, oh, that's no big deal, right? They're neighbors. However, over the course of, I want to say 15 years, Mike Kennedy and Phil Adam got together in business dealings at least 6 different times.
Wow.
They were interconnected in every dealing that Mike did, from Mike's that mail order thing where you send him a game and then he would send you another game or whatever, his Netflix for games.
Okay.
That Phil Adam right there with him. Every single company that Mike Kennedy has had, Phil Adam has been on the board. Now you could argue that maybe Mike Kennedy was just throwing Phil Adams' name on there. Phil had no idea that Mike was, signing his name away to these companies. But it pretty weird if they were doing that,
Well, and from my perspective, that would be okay. Were these other, you say 6 times? I assume the 6th time was the chameleon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first 5 ones, were they scams?
Well, some of them were.
Okay. Because like if you partner with somebody and then it just makes sense that you now have a business relationship, you might partner with them again and again. And if everything's good, even if they're failed companies, but if they're not scams and stuff, then, it'd be like, sure, I'll, be on the board and invest in this. And then it goes all sour,
But it's just funny because like when confronted with the whole Coleco Chameleon thing, Phil Adam had just played ignorance. Like I didn't know anything, and like I had no involvement. Like, dude, you're literally listed.
Yeah.
You can go right now and look at the thing. You're listed there. Like,
yeah, and whether it's true or not that he knew anything, there is some accountability there.
So, yeah, Game Gavel was one of the ventures.
Okay, yeah, that was like the auction site.
Yeah. So it was like Game Gavel was the auction site, and then he had you send us your games that you don't want, and you get to pick from a list, and we'll send you. So it was like basically trading, but you basically traded the game to Mike, and then he would show you what he would have, so you could pick what you wanted.
Like a different game.
Yeah. But it was all dependent. Like Mike didn't start off with like a catalog of games. It was all dependent on first people had to send him stuff, so he would have stuff to send out, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he had
not the best way to start it.
Then it was like Retro Cade Entertainment or something like that. Like they were trying to develop games. That fell on his face on that. Like I said, the Gen 2 Kickstarter thing. Obviously, the Coleco Chameleon. It was just like one after the other. Mike desperately wanted to be somebody in gaming, I guess.
Which I can appreciate, but you got to go about it in a different way.
Yeah. All right. So F1 JV says, by chance, did this, and I'm gonna clarify and put more of a. Do you think this Intellivision 3 project ultimately got Tommy Tallarico demoted from co-founder, president, CCO to just co-founder? Because Tommy's now listed as a.
Yes, I saw that. My my impression was that was probably just a long time coming. I don't think this had anything to do with that. I don't see why it would, but maybe people know more than I do.
I think it had to do with, like you said, I think it was a long time coming, and it might have been something that happened a while. But I think with this whole kerfuffle, it just kind of like, hey, while we're paying attention, someone update the website, right?
Or maybe, hey, while people are looking over here, we can now post this, and hopefully people won't notice.
Yeah, sneak that over there. So
maybe.
Someone asked something. What was it? Oh, Sweet and Tender, I think it was asked. Is it true, or maybe it was Jan? Because I don't know a lot about the homebrew community and Electronite and stuff. But some people had said, and again, I don't know, but some people had said that in order to get the games from Electronite, you had to basically pay for the catalog and then pay for the game. So it was like you had to pay for the privilege to know what games were available for you to buy.
I've never heard that. The way William runs, it's usually a post on the Electronite Facebook page and on Atari Age that now he's got this game. You send him an email, he sends you an invoice, you pay, he mails you a game. And then a lot of the times he'll work through distributors as well. So I know that Blue Sky Rangers carries his games, Good Deal Games carries his games, Intellivision Collector, I believe, carries some of his games. Yeah, if that's true, I've never heard that before.
All right. What was your initial thought when you heard about the 2-console plan?
I was meh on the flashback. I was excited about the FPGA, and I was excited that it would be a triple. Because, well, 3 holes to stick your stuff in. But because I got ColecoVision games, I got a lot of Atari games, I got a lot of Intellivision games, and I do homebrew reviews on all of those except ColecoVision so far. I haven't done any ColecoVision homebrews. Honestly, and I know a lot of people hate the Intellivision controller, but I absolutely despise the ColecoVision controller.
Hurt me.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to get some hate for that. But for me, like it would be a lot better if the actual joystick part was at the bottom, because then it wouldn't feel like it's pulling out of your hand all the time. But and that's why I mentioned too, and the CollectorVision Phoenix does this, that I do have a Super Nintendo modem controller. So if I could use that, then I would be all over ColecoVision, because ColecoVision's a fantastic system. It's got the best graphics of that era. It's got some really good games and a lot of support in the homebrew community. So, I was excited about that. I was excited to be able to get HD from 2600 and Intellivision as well. And yeah, so that was the one. And I know I'm in the minority, but that's also the type of system that, you don't have to sell millions. You have to sell 1,000 or 2,000. Because that's kind of the business model for all the other guys that do FPGA systems. So I was excited about that one.
Yeah. Like I said, for me personally, I have Intellivision Lives collection. I don't really want to play any of those games. The FPGA one, like I said, would be I have the cards, so it'd be neat.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's not for everyone. Like I've literally got a channel where I review new physical media for old systems. So anything that helps me capture that better, but even if I didn't, I am the market for that system. I'm the, what do they call it? The old man cringe community.
Yeah. I seen you did a Vectrex homebrew review.
Oh, I love the Vectrex.
I was actually after I made the thumbnail, I'd seen the video. I was like, damn, I should have used the mic dressed up as the devil. More eyes on. But did you know that Tommy said that after the Intellivision Amiga was a success, he was actually going to come out with a new Vectrex?
Oh, no, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So he almost had a new Vectrex. If that's your thing. That's your jam.
Yeah, the problem is the reason the Vectrex works is the vector monitor. Like having HD out for Vectrex games, you lose the soul of the Vectrex.
Don't worry, Tommy would have he would have figured something out.
He would have made it great, and he would have made it couch co-op.
Hmm. It would have been like a headset you wear, but it gave you the same, just like slapping an old Vectrex to your face.
They're pretty heavy, man.
It had a stand. Don't worry, it had like a stand.
Yeah, they would need a stand like a heavier version of the Virtual Boy. You need a little stand so you don't get tired.
Put wheels on it so it's portable. See,
Perfect.
We're coming up with solutions. Just
VR Vectrex.
All right. Do you like the feel of old Intellivision controllers?
Yeah, it's an acquired taste, but I do like the original, like the Intellivision 1 controllers. The Intellivision 2 controllers, especially those buttons on the side, they like dig into your fingers. But I do genuinely like the Intellivision controllers. I know I'm in the minority, but I do like them.
I've never, like I said, I've never played the original Intellivision, so
Yep.
I've never tried one of those controllers. I've only heard secondhand people complaining about it, but I never had a problem with the ColecoVision controller. I always thought it was fine for what it was. So I
Yeah,
could imagine.
it's fine for what it was. I just don't like it.
Yeah. I don't remember really even using the number pad on the Coleco. It's just always a 2 button.
Most games didn't require it.
Yeah.
The Intellivision took more advantage of the keypad.
Then I had the Super Action controller, the one that's like almost like a boxing glove. With
That one's a good one.
We only would play Rocky. That'd be the only game we would play with it was Rocky.
I like what is it? The Star Trek game using that one.
I didn't have that game.
That's a good game.
All right. What would have been the first game you fired up on the Frankenstein FPGA? So if the new FPGA thing came out, first game you're popping into that bad boy.
So, it would entirely depend on when it came out. It'd probably be the next homebrew that I was really excited to play. So I'm going to answer that as if I had it in my hand right now, and I'd say Intellivision. It's a Castlevania game on the Intellivision from Intellivision Revolution. And that's one that I want to fire up and do a review of soon.
I've heard about it. I've never played it. How does that?
It looks really cool.
How does it compare to the original Castlevania, though?
I haven't played it. I don't know. I can't.
Never played?
I have not played it yet. I literally got it like a week ago, and I've had some other things on my plate, so I haven't plugged it in yet, but I will be soon. I can tell you, okay, so, and actually this is an Electronite game. Infiltrator is like Metal Gear Solid on the Intellivision, and it's pretty awesome. I like it a lot.
I was just wondering because Intellivision, right? Obviously, it is the Castlevania remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it, right? Is it good enough to stand on its own? Like, if you took the Castlevania connection out of it, and it was just Dracula's castle or Whipman versus why isn't that they're not just selling it as a new aftermarket game like that?
Well, I mean, marketing is going to be important on anything. I think a lot of these games do stand up on their own, but you also have to realize what system they're on. Like if you plug any of these Intellivision games in and they're expecting a PS5 experience, you're obviously going to be very disappointed. But and that's why I was saying too, like the original Intellivision library, there's some good games there, but none of them really excite me. Some of the games that are coming out now, like another one is the Pandora Incident, and it's like survival horror in space. And it leans heavily on kind of like Alien vibes, but considering the system it's on, it's unbelievably fantastic. And a lot of these games really are from multiple companies. But you also have to look at it from the perspective of what system they're on. So
Well, yeah, I get that, but I'm asking because I've heard good things about a lot of homebrew games and certain games,
Yep.
right? Like, was it TNT Cowboy or something like that?
Yeah, TNT Cowboy's good. It's like
Right.
whatchamacallit, Bomberman with RPG elements.
Yeah, and I've heard good things about them, and it's like I am not going to go out and buy, an
No.
original Intellivision or whatever to get this homebrew cart. Like, I'm just wondering why I haven't seen a lot of these games. Like, you know what? I will just take the chance and pay whatever it is, the $5.99 to $20, $30 fee, whatever the fee is, and slap that bad boy on Steam or on the Switch and see how it goes there. Because like TNT Cowboy, there's really no intellectual property for them to be like, oh, you can't
No,
release
a
this,
lot
right?
of these, a lot of them kind of skirt with intellectual property, but a lot of these are originals. Like I've got, some upcoming ones. I'm just looking at the stack beside me now. Uh, Kings of Edom for the Jaguar, Panzer 1 and 2 for the NES, Intellivision. Well, Intellivision, flirts with it, but Operation Cloudfire. Yeah, there's a lot of A Tale of Dragons and Swords, Ninja
And
Odyssey.
I do think now. I'm not saying that this is a billion plus market,
No, it never
right?
will be. No.
Right. I'm realistic, but I do think there would be a small market. If you said, "Hey, you know what? These games are available on the Switch, or they're available on the on Steam."
Yeah, and they'd be the perfect kind of thing for the Switch.
Yeah. I think people would buy them. I mean, I've bought stupider things on the Switch. I bought a. Let me see, because it's in my list of games that I just beat not too long ago. What was it? Clash Force. I bought that on the PlayStation. It is a NES type Saturday morning 80s cartoon side scroller shooter, right?
Okay.
It's like 3 hours worth of content. It was like $5. I was like, yeah, this was a fun little game. Like I enjoyed playing it.
Yeah.
Like I could see
you got
myself
what you paid for.
yeah, and if it's like $5.99 or $6 or something on Switch, I see people like, hey, you know what? I'm into old games, and I picked this up.
Yeah, and for me, like I'm all about physical media, but I think that digital media has really allowed a lot of those games to actually get a life, as opposed to they'd be shot down because they're not worth it for, you're not going to make a cart of a 3-hour indie game.
And even like what is it, the Evercade? Like why like I don't know the companies, right? I don't know what's going on and who the developers are. So obviously it's just speculation and me talking. I could be completely talking out of my ass on this, but I would assume like, hey, like TNT Cowboy, people said it's good. I've heard good things about it, right? It looked nice from what I seen. I hear that you can't buy it because it's no longer available, right? Like, why not? Why not approach the people from Evercade and be like, "Hey, let's make a TNT Cowboy card for Evercade." That's the same market, right? Those are the people buying.
Honestly, like so TNT Cowboy is an Electronet game again. He's got enough games and enough games that don't skirt with copyright infringement. He could make a collection Evercade cart of homebrew and television games. He absolutely could. I don't know if Evercade would have any interest. I know some people who have tried to get collections on the Evercade and have not been successful based on their criteria or whatever, but he could absolutely put a collection of 10 games together that would be, in, at least from my perspective, an instant buy.
Tommy says, what about an Electronite home app with all the games?
Sincerely doubt it. Sincerely doubt it. I've got zero interest in playing any of these games on my phone. I don't care about the Amico home app. I don't like the only games that I play are, when I'm waiting for something or I'm sitting on the shitter. And it's usually like I've got this little chess game where it's like, mate in 2 and you just try to figure it out, or mate in 3. That's the type of thing that I play on my phone. I'm not going to play any of these. What's that, sorry? Oh, yeah, no. We're not mating with people. Checkmate. Chess.
I was like, whoa, Tommy's right. It sounds like one of those adult Switch games.
There you go. The rape games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've heard, but Baldur's Gate 3 just came out, and
Okay.
there's a lot of you can romance different characters in the game. They've actually started to uh, keep track of world records for how fast you can get one of the characters to uh, lay with you in the biblical sense. And I think the
I
record
I
right now
think
is it's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
I think that record is probably inverse to their real life ability to do so.
Nah, I don't think. People always say that. Like gamers get laid all the time.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I was at Portland Retro Gaming Expo last year, and I saw all the Tetris groupies. I get
Yeah,
it.
I was at too many games this year, and oh my god, the panties were all over the place. The floor was so wet from all the ladies that were inside the building. They had to keep mopping it. It's crazy.
Oh,
It
there
just
you go.
oozed sex. I told my kid's 18. I'm like, I know you're 18, and there's just gonna be a lot of crazy stuff going on, but control yourself. It was wild. That's why they're like no phones for the first night because it was just
No evidence.
yeah. It was like Vegas. They're like, hey, what happens at too many games stays at too many games. What's up, Benoit Benjamin? So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch. Maybe I'm just too optimistic about, hey, people would buy this on other consoles.
I I I think there would be a market, but I think a big thing for a lot of people who are heavy into the homebrew community is being able to play it on, like being able to get a physical copy of, like, here's a new, Atari or Intellivision, Coleco, whatever, a new game for that system that I love.
All
There's a
right.
lot of nostalgia involved in it, but I do think the games stand on their own.
Does Mike believe anything that comes out of the current Intellivision leadership? Obviously, that's Intellivision Entertainment.
Yeah, I take anything that comes from them with about 40 pounds of salt.
Yeah, it's good advice.
But I don't necessarily disbelieve everything, but I'm not emotionally invested enough in what specifically Intellivision Entertainment is doing to really get worked up about it either way. So
I think, and I think it's really important that people realize that things are said in a very specific way, right?
yep.
Where they could not be lying to you, but not telling you the truth either, right? Like
Corporations, similar to politicians, have a great way of saying a lot of stuff without saying anything.
yeah. So sometimes you gotta parse through the bullshit to get to the actual. Oh, what are they really saying here?
Yeah.
It can be difficult, but it can be done.
Yeah.
All right. So last question from you, Super J, who just going crazy. Did anyone from Intellivision reach out to Mike after the initial announcement? So after you made your video, has anybody from Intellivision reached out to you other than the John Alvarado in the comments?
No, that comment by John Alvarado was it.
I usually get angry emails from everybody.
I don't get angry emails, not yet.
All right. So that was you, Super J. Let me keep track of what we're doing. All right. So Gen X Gamer Cartridge and Disc Podcast says, are you still friends with William Mauler?
Yes, I am.
This is going to be a thing that you laugh about. You're going to be like poking fun at. Remember that time you announced the Intellivision 3 on my channel?
Yeah. I don't know how much we'll be laughing about it, but we'll move past it.
I think in like 5 years, it'll be a joke. You guys, it'll be water under the bridge.
Yes, yeah, it's.
Or you'll try to joke about it, and he'll beat you.
Most of our conversations since then have been him asking my opinion. Like, he sends me a ROM. He's like, "What do you think of this game? Should I publish it?" Kind of thing. Like, that's back to kind of usual stuff.
All right. What are your thoughts on if Amico is doing a disservice to the Intellivision community as a whole?
That would be an understatement. I think there's a large portion of the, at least now, like, I wasn't particularly overly following it at as things were going with Tommy and all that in the Atari age. But I think there is a very large portion of the original Intellivision community that just wish it never happened. Because, whenever you bring up Intellivision, obviously it's got that stigma to it now.
Finbar Saunders, great guy, co-host of the channel. He says, "What's Mike's understanding of how William came into making the announcement of the Intellivision 3 on behalf of BBG? Was it BBG that fed William the wrong details, or did William advise BBG wrong?"
So the first part of that question, we've kind of talked about, like he was consulting with them, and that's as much as I know. And he was told that he was allowed to talk. Was it BBG that fed William the wrong details, or did William advise BBG wrong? My speculation, because I was not privy to those communications, and obviously I haven't seen specifically the license agreement, is that Stefan probably told William what the license agreement is like. We've got a right to, and keep in mind, BBG's first clarification didn't state that there was a limit on the games. He said, we've got a limited, non-exclusive license agreement for the Intellivision OS and the original library of games. So if that's what was communicated to William, then his advice or consultation or suggestion of, what to do with it would have fit within that. So I can't answer for sure who had the wrong details, or even if they are the wrong details, because again, 40 pounds of salt for even what Intellivision Entertainment said. But obviously, at least publicly, neither BBG or Intellivision Entertainment are going to say any more about that until they really hammer things out. So I don't know who had the wrong information there. My speculation would be that William either was told wrong or understood wrong, if it is in fact wrong.
I will say, with my communications with Stefan, there does seem to be a slight translation breakdown. Like it's not perfect English, so there is like a little room for possible miscommunication there. But he said nothing but nice things about William. He's reiterated that William is highly respected, well known, and he's a nice guy. So he had nothing but nice things to say about William. He some people were like he threw William on the no. As I said, Stefan, when we communicated via email, he had nothing but good things to say about William. So
yeah.
All right. So Sweet and Tender says, has the experience with Intellivision Entertainment, aka the Amico people, put a strain on your relationship with William? Also, who is more at fault here, the haters or Tommy Tallarico? Chicken or the egg?
So as for a strain, I mean, I don't think it's really put a strain on a relationship. He's not thrilled with the fact that I put those back up. He's not thrilled that I even posted an epilogue video on it. But I think he understands, at least from my perspective, why I would do that. We'll move on from it. I think we're fine. Who's more at fault here, the haters or Tommy Tallarico? I think the onus here has to be on Tommy. I mean, the only way to shut haters up, if we're going to be calling them haters and stuff, is to produce what you produce what you said you were going to do, and then everybody has to shut up because you actually did it. All these people that said you're never going to do it, you did it.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said murder.
Yeah. Well, your words, not mine. But that, he made a lot of promises to a lot of people. He took a lot of people's money. So obviously you're going to get hate for that if you don't produce anything.
Both Tommy Uyamiko and Sweet and Tender Hooligan want to know if you smoke weed.
The last time I smoked weed, I was in college. That's way too long ago. It's legal up here now. I could, but I don't anymore.
I've never smoked weed.
Oh, good for you.
I don't know what that's like. One day I always joke that when I get old, when I'm like 70, 75, when I'm pushing it, I know I'm on the way out. I'm just gonna do all the drugs, like just all of them.
Well, I've got a cousin that's got chronic pain, and so he takes like the CBD oil or whatever, and that helps him a lot. So there's validity that you'd probably be a very comfortable 75-year-old if you tried to take all those. I mean, you might die really quick if you take them all in all at once, but
All at once, every single drug.
every single drug, you'll go, but you'll go with quite a show.
And Viagra. So I'm gonna go happy.
Well, and so you'll go with quite a show and a hard on. There you go.
Tommy also wants to know. It's personal. You don't have to answer this, but my audience is a bunch of idiots, so bear that in mind. Have you had a vasectomy?
I am a 42-year-old man with 3 children that doesn't want any more, so I'll let you speculate on that.
I just use the pull-out method. It's like 98% accurate, so you're good.
Well,
What does Mike think of Amico Home? Will he be getting the product?
I already kind of mentioned that I don't play these games on my phone. I have zero interest in playing them on my phone, so.
I also mentioned that my audience is an idiot, so they probably weren't paying attention when he said that. So I do apologize. Honest question: will Intellivision 3 support LGBTQ games? No, sweet, no. Never.
I'm pretty sure there won't be a lockout chip to just push out LGBTQ games. If you make one that would play on a regular Intellivision, if the Intellivision 3 came out, I'm sure it would play.
No. As soon as you put them in, it would just turn all the gay characters back straight. It's like a chip in there, automatic. All the rainbow flags.
Or it might give a rainbow paint scheme to your unit.
Sweet and Tender is asking because the Intellivision Amico community, they're not very accepting of the LGBTQ community. And when
I was
people
not
have asked
aware
them,
of that.
Yeah, they've asked like at Amico Forever and stuff about games or things of that nature, and they've been met with hostility and blocks.
Well, I think that's probably more on a select number of individuals as opposed to a community as a whole, but I don't know enough about it to say anything about that.
I just ignore it.
I will tell you this. No matter what you identify as, no matter what your sexual orientation is, you're all welcome at Mike's Gaming Gala.
He said free candy in his white van for all of you.
Yeah, there you go.
And puppies.
And puppies and kittens, like anything that might get you over there.
No, but it is a good channel. I do recommend you. If you're interested in the homebrew scene for Intellivision and stuff, check out Mike's Gaming Gala. It's a good channel. I enjoyed the videos that I've seen. Mike dresses up. He does silly skits, which I appreciate. Doesn't take himself too seriously. Again, I appreciate that. That video you did, what was it? The space one, the Pandorum, whatever.
Oh, the Pandora incident. Yeah.
Yeah. The beginning of that video where it's like,
the distress call.
Yeah, the distress call, the scan lines, and everything. Like that was good. Like that I could have seen being honestly the commercial for the game. Like clip that and be like, this is how you sell your game, because that would make an excellent commercial.
Yeah, so where it comes from for me is like obviously movies and TV were big for me when I was a kid, but in the early 90s, like I was babysitting, and whenever I was babysitting, there was a few shows up here in Canada. There was always Kids in the Hall, and then right after that was The Outer Limits. And I don't know if you remember The Outer Limits, but The Outer Limits always had intros that were kind of like that. And so that, like, to me, that one intro always feels like an Outer Limits intro to me. I like it.
I remember Kids in the Halls. We used to get that late at night.
Yeah.
Outer Limits, I kind of remember, but I don't. It doesn't have a lasting.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a sci-fi junkie, so it's similar to the Twilight Zone.
I love the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, but except for 90% of the episodes, like the endings are like really bad for the people involved. They always turn sour, which I appreciated.
Kids in the Hall rule, says Tommy.
Yeah, I love Kids in the Hall.
I think they were hit or miss. I would watch them in like some episodes.
Like any, yeah, they're the Canadian Monty Python. Like you watch, I love Monty Python, but you watch back Monty Python's Flying Circus, it's really hit and miss. But when they hit, they really hit.
Yeah. Sweet wants to know: will you take a ride in Tommy's Ferrari?
I wouldn't turn down a ride in a Ferrari, but I'm not going to let it convince me that something else is awesome. Just that Ferraris are cool.
I'm not a car guy, so it would.
I like cars.
But I think that about covers it. Is there anything you wanted to add specifically to the conversation?
Not specifically. I was kind of here. I like the fact that like because I don't stream, I generally don't have time to like set things. I don't even know how to. I mean, I could figure it out. My brother's a streamer on Twitch, but yeah, it was nice to be able to kind of interact some of the comments and stuff. At least give people some answers, like because the videos that I make, it's just monologues, and then you can comment on it, but you don't get real time reactions. So I appreciate the opportunity to come chat. This was good. I liked it.
Yeah, you did fantastic. You're a natural. You answered everything we had, all the questions I had.
Cool.
Like I said, it is a crazy situation. It happened. Things took off. It was alive and then dead in a week, which is
the 3-day saga.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you talk to William, obviously tell him it was never anyone's intentions to kill any project. We were excited for the Intellivision 3, mostly because we thought that was the end of the Intellivision Amico, and we could all move on with our lives from that.
Yeah.
And Mike's Gaming Gala, check him out. It's an awesome channel. He does awesome reviews. He's got some mini reviews up on the short section. If you don't got a big attention span, if someone wants something quick and snappy.
Yeah. Cool.
You Super J says, way to giddy up and do the interview, Mike. Yeah.
Hey, no problem.
Tommy says, please come back, Mike. And Sweet wants to know you're awesome.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
The door is always open if you want to come back, not just to talk Intellivision, to talk any of the multitude of things we talk about here. We are mostly a video game channel, but we do talk about comic books, Marvel movies, sci-fi,
cool.
TV shows, women's asses frequently.
Well, I appreciate women's asses. I can't lie there.
YouTube didn't like it too much. You know what's funny?
I can't imagine they would.
Here's the funniest thing, and everyone gets a kick out of this. So we did a live stream, and I clipped out the section where we talked about the celebrities' asses, right? It was guess the celebrity by the ass. It was like 20, 25 minute, maybe 30-minute section, right? So I clipped that out, put it up on YouTube.
Okay.
And YouTube gives you, you got the analytics. You can go to your studio and shows you who is watching your video, right?
Okay.
Age and stuff. What demographic do you think? 100%. The only people that watched this video when I clipped it out, it was like 120 views, and it was 100% a single demographic. What do you think it was, Mike?
This is the women's asses thing.
Yes.
I'm gonna go completely out of left field and say it's something that you're thinking I wouldn't expect, and I'd say women.
It was women ages 35 to 55. 100% of the people that watched it.
People self-conscious about their bodies, checking out other people's.
I think what it was, I think because it was like celebrity ass something. I forget how I phrased it, right? Like celebrity butt game. I think it was, the tabloid mom demographic that they pick up the Inquirer.
Open for like Ryan Reynolds' ass and stuff like that.
No, I think they were hoping to like, oh, look at this. She's had work done.
Or like, oh, look, so and so has cellulite. They're just like me.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was that attracted them. No other video on my channel has any women. It was just so weird. It was just like one video, 100 views, all women.
Well, there you go. You've got a demographic there.
Yeah. My comments are in good fun to William being serious. Wish him good luck on all his Intellivision endeavors. Sweet and Tender says, I formally apologize to William for the Uncle Fester thing. There you go. We've made some peace.
I'm glad we made some peace.
But again, thanks for doing this, Mike. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Doors always open. If you ever want to do something, you got my email. If you just want to,
I do have your email.
Shoot the shit.
Click that subscribe button so that I can watch some other of your streams. And yeah.
No, yeah, you're gonna unsubscribe in like a week. You're like, this guy's fucking crazy. But
there's nothing wrong with crazy. I like the stuff that I have seen. Like I did watch a little bit of your previous stuff. Like I never found any of it offensive. There's, people are entitled to their opinions, and like you said, sometimes you'll sensationalize stuff or make a bigger deal of stuff just for entertainment value. But no, I haven't seen anything, at least in the stuff that I've seen, I haven't seen anything that would brand you as somebody that I think is not a good person.
Well, keep looking.
I did not articulate that very well, but
I'm sure it's in there. You'll find it. Don't worry. Everybody does. But we got 20 people here. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And of course, always support me on Super Chats. I am open to you just sending me money for doing nothing. I enjoy that. That's my favorite activity here on YouTube. The Patreon will be going up soon, where you can give me $20 and then recommend me to review any comic, movie, TV show, or video game of your choice. So there it is. I mean, anything. Just don't. I'm gonna say anything except for like Little Samson. Like, don't be like, hey, that game that's like a cost like $10,000. Why don't you go buy a physical copy and review it and tell me what it's like?
I'd like to see a physical review of stadium events, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, your $20 doesn't get you that, okay? But don't be insane, is what I'm saying. It can't be. I will review. If you want me to review a pornographic movie, I will. You're not going to get anything on the screen, right? I'll just tell you what I think of it. It'll be the worst review ever. But like, it's a great 10 minutes. I only watched like 10 minutes of it because then I was done. But for the 10 minutes, it was good. But yeah, so that's going to be set up. I have off the rest of the week until Monday. So probably, I'm saying probably because you know me. I'll say I'm going to do something, and then I was like, I'm too tired. But so probably Friday and maybe tomorrow night, and then Friday morning, we'll do some gaming streams and just shooting the shit. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And you guys got to be good. You got to be good. If you ain't good, I ain't going to do it. That's what I'm saying, basically.
I'm going to do Sweet and Tender Hooligan a favor because he keeps asking me about Ryan Gosling. I am not sexually attracted to other men, but I can recognize a good-looking man, and Ryan Gosling is a good-looking man.
Benoit says that 12-year-olds in here. No, but we are all old men who are stunted maturely. Arrested Development has hit a lot of us.
I love that show.
There's an Intellivision Donkey Kong single cartridge for sale for $199,000.
Oh,
I'll get right on it.
The worst port of Donkey Kong. Do not get Donkey Kong on the Intellivision. If you want to play Donkey Kong on the Intellivision, get like DK Arcade or D2K Arcade, or just get it for another system.
I loved it on the ColecoVision. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, so ColecoVision they're the ones who licensed it from Nintendo and they ported it to the other systems, and they specifically made the other ports bad so that theirs looked like, because theirs was, for what could be done, basically arcade perfect. Like it looked fantastic on the ColecoVision, but it looked the worst on Intellivision. It was terrible.
Yeah, we actually I want to say a couple days ago, maybe it was Saturday. We actually looked at a video where it showed the different versions of the games. Because we were actually discussing this very thing. That's why I'm telling you, my audience is stupid, because they'll say things that they know that we've discussed like that day ago, and they're like, "What? I don't remember that." Also, they love the abuse for some reason. I keep giving it to them, and they just keep taking it. But yeah, the Patreon's going up soon. Probably going to do a game stream either tomorrow or Friday. Go check out Mike's Gaming Gala. He's awesome, great guest. Answered all the questions. Said all the things that need to be said. And as always, like how we do it here on this channel, love, peace, booty grease. We're out this bitch.